Stand. It's our Manchester United versus Reading preview. Everything is up and running, which is fantastic. And first of all, I just want to say, before I get the live comments up, Reading are no pushover. I want to get this very, very clear. Reading are no pushover. They are third. They are third in the Championship. They are equivalent of basically a Middlesbrough and a Sunderland. And I know we beat both of them at home, and we should beat both of them at home, but by no means are they a pushover. Fortunately or unfortunately, I get to work with quite a few Villa fans being based in the Midlands, and the Championship is very competitive, as Steve Bruce, the ex-United manager, player, captain, will testify. It won't be easy against Reading. So we need to be very careful about how we go about it, who we play. However, I do agree, and I am going to get into this, thanks to Andy1753, who says he loves the early morning transfer shows. If you've not been watching those, they're probably going to be live by the time you get up. We go live at about 6:30 every morning for January talking transfers. There's a couple of transfers I want to talk about actually in a bit. But yes, I am of the opinion, and I'm not sure what you are, that we should be picking reserve players against Reading. It's a 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. We'll be live around 11:30 with the team news, and then right the way through till full time for the watch along. So join us for that. However, we also play Hull, and I think the Hull game is on Tuesday. First leg of the League Cup. I mean, Hull are in disarray. You could argue that Reading are a harder game than Hull. I mean, third in the Championship against definitely going to get relegated from the Premier League. I think Reading might be the tougher fixture. I'm sure Jose will take the Hull game more serious, however. But I don't want to see Pogba, Zlatan, Herrera, Carrick and all that lot, well, their main players especially, playing against Reading. But I think it's got to be a fine line between going too far, and I don't think we will go too far. And also, yes, George Carla, we'll be talking about Manolas. We can't go too far to the left, if you know what I mean. I mean, let me throw this team out at you. So you put Romero in goal. You put, let's just say, I mean, right back's always difficult, isn't it? You'd probably want to rest Valencia. So let's say, I know Alex was going to put Darmian at right back. So Romero in goal, Darmian at right back. Play Smalling and Twansibi, let's say, as centre backs. You put hopefully Luke Shaw at left back. So that's a decent back four, isn't it? Anchor in the midfield, let's say Twansibi can't play twice. He's good, but he's not that good. Fosu Mensah, Schweinsteiger, and shall we be really generous? No. So midfield of Fosu Mensah, Schweinsteiger. Is Rooney back? Could be a good game for Rooney. If not, maybe play Mata at number 10, because he's been coming on as a sub. He's not been starting games. On the right, play Lingard. On the left, I would play Martial because he didn't play on Monday. And then up front, Rashford. So, that is a good 11 off the top of my head. I'll tell you what my real 11 is, but let's just say it was Romero, Darmian, Smalling, Twansibi, Luke Shaw, Fosu Mensah, Schweinsteiger, Mata 10, Lingard on the right, Martial on the left, Rashford up front. I know you're salivating and getting excited by that, maybe down there. Crude, but you know what I mean. That would be my ideal team to play. But actually, I think if we played that team against Reading, we may well come unstuck, because they're not that bad. They are not that bad, and they could come and get a result against us if we put a team out like that. So Jose may not go down that route. What I suspect we'll see is the likes of Fellaini will start. Don't get me into that, whether he should start, whether he should be at Manchester United. You know where I stand on that. However, Fellaini probably will start. He's on every bench of Mourinho, so he's probably going to start. If he is going to start, I'd want him to play in the number 10 position off the striker, which surely cannot be Zlatan, would hopefully be Rashford. So I think Fellaini will start. I think Lingard definitely will start. But I don't think we'll see a total rest of Pogba, Herrera and Carrick. I expect he will probably play Pogba because Pogba seems to play every game. So that would mean Schweinsteiger won't play. I don't think Schweinsteiger plays will play is what I'm getting at. I think Martial and Lingard have got a good chance of being the players who start out wide. I would like to see Mata playing, but I do think he'll find a place for Fellaini. He'll definitely find a place for Rooney if he's fit. And in the back four, I think we'll see Jones and Rojo, or Jones and Smalling. What I'm getting at is I don't think we'll see Fosu Mensah starting. I don't think we'll see Twansibi starting. I would hope Rashford has done enough to start up front, because to be honest with you, as much as Fosu Mensah must be involved in this team, and as much as I'd like to see Twansibi involved as well, if Rashford starts up front, that would more or less do it for me. That would be really exciting because I want to see Marcus Rashford playing up front. He's been doing what he's asked of him. He came on the left wing. He was absolutely superb. But I want to see Marcus Rashford playing up front. I think Darmian might play at right back. He'd probably go for Blind at left back. But a few people asking about Memphis. Memphis. Something's buzzing somewhere here and it's really annoying. That's in another room. Memphis. No thanks. No thanks to Memphis. No thanks to Schneiderlin. I'm going to be quite honest about this. Why? I've had a few people today. I said, Memphis. Why do people want Memphis to play in this Reading game when ultimately our manager has come out and told us that Memphis said 2 months ago that he wants to leave our club? I said it before and I'll say it again. He was handed the number 7 shirt, not on a plate. He was handed it with a big, massive cheque. The Holy Grail. Not, he should have been ecstatic about playing for Manchester United, but not only that, he gets the number 7 shirt. As far as I'm concerned, leave, go, get out of my club, and don't come back. The ego can go. But I had a few people saying today, well, you say he's had all his chances over the last 2 years. Name the last time he was in a Manchester United shirt playing for Manchester United. Well, he's had a few. But the reality is, I don't know what level of people are understanding of chances. Chances aren't necessarily starting for a team. You don't turn up to Manchester United and just get picked on a Saturday because, and that's your chance. Your chance is every single day in training. And if you're not producing in training, which he clearly isn't, then it's not about, he hasn't had a chance in the first team. He's clearly not even good enough to be getting on our bench, which when you think about the fact that Martial's only just coming back to form, Mkhitaryan only came to form in the last month, Lingard's been in and out of form, Rashford has been playing on the wing. It's not like Memphis at the start of the season. I said Memphis is going to have to play like Messi just to get in this team because we've got Martial, Mkhitaryan. Well, actually, that's not what happened. That's not what's happened at all. None of our wide men have actually grasped that opportunity. And you could say for the first 2 or 3 months of the season, they were woefully out of form. We were talking Mkhitaryan might be sold and Martial's been linked with a move. So Memphis had that opportunity in front of him and he's still struggled to get on the bench. We've still been using Ashley Young over him. So I wouldn't want Memphis to play on Saturday. And that's not to say won't, but I think when somebody says they want to leave Manchester United, I'd rather just pack them up and send them off. Don't return to sender, get lost. As for Schneiderlin, what you've got to think about is I don't think Schneiderlin would play because what if he got injured? He's clearly not part of the plans. Hirsch Puri says Memphis' biggest mistake was his bad attitude. Yeah, probably right. What's my thoughts about Reading? Jaap Stam returning to Manchester United is nice. I think it's going to be interesting in that aspect. But I can't over-egg the pudding that let's not expect us to be beating. What I don't want to happen on the watch-along or match reactions or whatever is if we win 1 or 2-0, people are moaning saying we should have won that 5 or 6-0. Reading are an equivalent of a Borough or a Sunderland or a Hull, someone like that, and they're in form and they're in 3rd in the Championship and they're not a fashionable team in the Championship when you think about the teams who've got money, your Newcastles, your Norwiches, your Aston Villas, and Reading are consistent. In that league, they're playing Saturday, Wednesday, nearly every week. It's a competitive league, and they are there on merit where they are in the league. They'll come and fight. So if we played a totally reserve side, it could get turned over. So I expect us to put some experience in there. The Hull game interests me. I would expect us to play a stronger game against Hull because it's a League Cup semi-final, but I don't know how it will go. I think we're going to win the game. It's weird because I'm doing this on a Thursday night and I normally do it on a Friday night, but obviously we've been doing the bet tips and people have said, well, what's yours? Sander Sagers, just very quickly, I've just noticed his comment. Mark, I disagree massively with the Memphis thing. Can't explain on this, but would love to come on and give my argument. I can't get you on today, mate, but I'm sure Sander came on one of our Skype Goldbridge shows and said that he believed that he actually agreed totally with what I said about Memphis, that he's had his chance and he should go. So I would be intrigued. Maybe come on the next Skype Goldbridge and tell us why you've changed your mind on that, because I do distinctly remember you saying that Memphis should go. But by all means, we'd like to get your thoughts on that. Rooney to start, says Andy Wero. I'm not aware of what the news on Rooney is, and this is probably why I don't really like doing a preview on a Thursday night. We normally do it on a Friday night, because then you get what the update is from the press conference, which will be tomorrow. But Sandeep's 11 would be Romero, Darmian, Smalling, Jones, Rojo, Blind, Schweinsteiger, Lingard, Mata, Rooney, Rashford, Martial. I quite like that team. I presume you're going to play Blind as an anchorman midfield, which I don't know why. This is something that gets mentioned by Manchester United fans quite a lot. I can't see us ever playing Blind as a defensive midfielder. He's never been played there under Mourinho. He hasn't been played under Louis van Gaal since he very first came to the club. So I don't think there's any indication that would happen with Daley Blind as a DM, and I'd rather Fosu Mensah played, to be honest. But Rooney is back in training, says Johnny Blaze 23. Thanks, Johnny. So yeah, Rooney's obviously going to play on Saturday. I don't have a massive problem that where you'd shoehorn Rooney into the team. This is what I think, and this is what concerns me, is he might play Rooney up front, which means Rashford doesn't play up front. And if you're asking me for the future of Manchester United in probably the best opportunity we're going to get between now and the end of the season to use some of our fringe players, because let's be honest, we're quite fortunate to have a home tie against a team in a league below us at this stage of the season. Rashford over Rooney. Rashford's the future of Manchester United, Rooney's the past, and I would rather have Rashford playing up front than Rooney, because I think that's going to benefit us more over the coming years than using Rooney there. However, I think Mourinho probably will opt for Rooney. If it's very difficult to guess what his team would be, but I would imagine he'll play Rooney up front. He might put Mata in behind at number 10, or Fellaini, put maybe Mata on the right, or Lingard if he's not playing him at number 10. Mata. I think Martial surely will start at left. And I think I don't think he'll play Fosu Mensah or Schweinsteiger. I think we'll actually probably see a Fellaini in there with maybe a Pogba and the back four as we've discussed before. So I was rudely interrupted by Sandra. I'm only joking, but we did do the bet last week that Zlatan would score at any time. We started this £10 challenge. I know we've done one before, but I got stupid and greedy, and that won't be happening again. So we started with a tenner. We're up to 17 quid because Zlatan did score in the last game against West Ham. And my bet today for the Reading game is that Manchester United will win by 2 goals. So 2-0, 3-1, 4-2... 3-0, whatever. There'll be a 2-goal gap, and that would take, it's pretty much even, so that would take 17 up to 34 quid. So if you're interested, that's what we'll do. Janusai is crap. Lingard is a good squad player, says HSC MUFC. Fabregas would be perfect to partner Fabregas and Pogba, says DN. We're not going to get anyone like that, though, are we? And what do you think about Pepe, says Triple the Power Gaming. Discussed him before. I don't really want him at Manchester United, if I'm totally honest. I don't. However, let's talk about that. Jose Fonte, he's been mentioned on the United stand quite a lot. We were very heavily linked to him in the summer, the latter part of the summer. Some United fans wanted him, some didn't. Handed in a transfer request at Southampton. I don't want him at Manchester United. I trust Mourinho when it comes to defenders. I'd be a hypocrite if I said I didn't, because if we do this Lindelof deal, which is still ticking along, I trust Mourinho on that deal. However, what bothers me about the Fonte deal is Lindelof's 22. There's lots of room for him to grow. Fonte is 33. He's a centre-back. He's coming right towards the end of his career. I've not been that impressed with him anyway when I've seen him play. Granted, not a lot this season. But whatever anybody says, he spent his prime years, his late 20s, playing League One and Championship football. I don't rate him. I don't think he's he's not the sort of centre-back we should be signing. If we're signing a centre-back, I want somebody who's aged between 25 and 30, or in their early 20s, where we can, mould them. I don't want a 33-year-old centre-back at Manchester United. It's a stopgap signing, and let's be honest, if he's a stopgap signing to help us win the title, great. But are we going to win the title this year? We can win the title this year, but it'd be an immense achievement to do it. So realistically, what does he offer? What does he offer? So no to Fonte for me. However, and I must say this as well, Costas Manolas is a player that I've been going on about for a long, long time. I wanted us to sign him in the summer. Absolute beast of a player, bully. He is very Vidic-esque. At Roma at the moment, I think he's 25, so he fits into that category perfect. Greek. I'd love us to sign him. I really would. Chelsea have been more linked to him than we have, but the Metro and the Sun have reported that we're after him for 32.5 million. That's basically like Alex saying that we're after him. So there's probably no truth in it, and I would be doing cartwheels if we signed Manolas, because if you've watched the United stand for a long time, you'll know that if given a choice of what centre back, it would be Manolas that I would go for. So if it happened, that would be great, but I can't see it happening as much as we have been linked to him. Rashford on the wing, says Rude9 the Master. He could end up playing on the wing, but hopefully we'll see Martial. Ultimately, he's just not a winger, is he? Rashford isn't a winger, and I want to see him playing up front. When will Lindelof sign, says Sandeep. Again, you know, it's still very up in the air about that. I read something today that the British press still don't believe it's going to happen, but then there's rumours of something happening in Portugal about Manchester United and Benfica resolving their issue over the fee, and something's going to happen really soon. So I don't know. Wouldn't surprise me if he's involved in the Benfica squad at the weekend though. DN Haider Iqbal says Van Dijk is better than Manolas. I disagree. Tiny Mario 75 says hi Mark. Mark, I hear Lindelof has potential to be next Vidic. What do you think? Says Josh Kirby. I haven't seen him enough, Josh, to know that. I haven't seen enough to know that. I'd rather have Manolas. I'd rather have Howard. I'd rather have Van Dijk, if I'm totally honest. But I trust Mourinho. Jake Marnie says Rooney will win. Rooney will win. I read the one bit below. He said Reading will win. Draughty Devil says Lindelof has to happen. I still think it will. I still think it will happen. And George Carl says it'll happen tomorrow. I think it will happen. You know, 21st of December we said this deal's going to happen. We've had a lot of sticks saying it won't. I still feel it's going to happen. I'd love it to happen anyway, in a way, because it would be an absolute first for me to see the BBC get it so wrong. The credible press, you know, the gutter press get it wrong all the time, but the credible press to get it wrong would be very, very interesting to see. Mata is better than Stam, says Rude9 the Master. I'm sure he is. Mark, I think the front three will be Rooney, Martial and Zlatan against Reading. Yeah, I think Reading will give us a good game. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a very good draw for us. I'm just putting my slipper back on. I think it's a very good draw for us, but I don't think we should take it for granted. And I don't like that. You know, I am not respectful of the opposition totally. However, it is Jaap Stam coming back, a great servant of the club, sold too soon. And I think they'll come and have a go and give a good account of themselves. If we do beat them 3 or 4-0, I don't think we should say, oh, it's only Reading. That's my point. Third in the Championship, very, very competitive, and they're as good as probably the bottom 6 in the Premier League. So we should be beating them, but I think they'll give a good account of themselves. And I think that's why we can't go to reserves. People are saying, oh, we should be playing the reserves. I've seen Sir Alex Ferguson do that over the years, where you play the reserves, and because they don't play week in, week out, they haven't got that symmetry or understanding or fitness, and it can be like a bunch of strangers. Then you get Reading coming to town with that. Maybe, I mean, they might not play their first team, who knows? But if they come to town and play their first team, they all know each other. They'll fancy that as well. They'll take it as an insult, and I think they could turn us over. So I think it's got to be not wholesale changes, but just a few changes, and that is why I would like to see definitely see Rashford up front. I'd like to see Martial starting. I'd love to see Fosu Mensah start or somewhere in that squad, but Twan Seaby I think we're stretching. I've got a funny feeling Fosu Mensah won't, and I would expect the likes of Darmian to start. I would expect Fellaini to start. Why wouldn't Fellaini start? He's on every single bench for the first team, so why wouldn't he start? I don't necessarily agree with it, and if he does start, I'd want him to play him as a number 10. But I would imagine he might come in and play that Carrick role or the box-to-box role. So we'll see. McGinson says, do you think Valencia will become a Manchester United legend? No. He said, actually, do you think he'll become a legend like Evra? No, I don't think that. I think legend's a very difficult word. Great, United great is what Patrice Evra is. I don't think Patrice Evra is a United legend, but it depends what your interpretation of legend is. It's a bit like my interpretation of world class, which in fact, I'll throw something totally left field into in a minute. But legend, a Manchester United legend, if you're asking for me who a Manchester United legend is of my time as a Manchester United fan, so about 2 years, if that's what people believe. No, 25 years of what I can remember. No, I'm not that young. 30 odd years of what I can remember. The legends would be Roy Keane, obviously, Brian Robson. Although, admittedly, I didn't see a lot of his career. Well, I saw the back end of it, but not that much. Roy Keane would be a legend. Scholes, Giggs, Cantona. There are more, but there's not. What I'm trying to get at, there's not loads. There's not loads. I mean, I wouldn't say. See, for me, being a legend and a great, a legend is a legend, and a great is a fantastic thing to be. But I wouldn't put Dave. I love David Beckham, and Alex will be rolling around in his grave for this. But he's not dead, by the way. But he's just not been on for a while. His United Stam career is dead. But he would go mad. But I wouldn't say David Beckham's a legend. He's a United great, simply because he went at too young an age for me. The Nevilles and Nicky Butt, are they legends? Not quite for me, because ability-wise, just not quite legends, but United greats. Paul Scholes, absolute legend because he's got the ability to go with it. Giggs, again, got the ability to go with it. Roy Keane, the best captain I've ever seen and one of the best midfielders I've ever seen. Cantona, not there for years, but so inspirational and such an absolute top level footballer, legend. But Schmeichel, no, not quite a legend. A United great for me. And certainly the likes of Evra, Vidic, greats, not legends. Van Persie, Ronaldo's a United legend for me. Because I just think people don't like it, but Ronaldo is, because Ronaldo, if you actually watched United when Ronaldo was here, we were virtually a one-man team. We had a great team around him, but he was on another level, week in, week out. You should go back and watch, especially the 2008 season. He was scoring goals for fun, on his own, from the wing, week in, week out. He was an absolute brilliant player. Ronaldo didn't play up front for United like he did for Real Madrid. He played on the wing, and he was still scoring goals for fun. One side of the pitch, so they could double up on him. You know, if you're a winger, it's not, you shouldn't be scoring the goals he used to do. And it was week in, week out. They tried to stop him and they couldn't do it. He was an absolute star. Now, he went on to Real Madrid and had his best years, I must admit. But what he did for United, and he basically was, we were a one-man team. An absolute brilliant player. And I'd put Ronaldo in there as a United legend. Probably, I understand why people wouldn't, because they feel, well, he's gone to Real Madrid, so they put him as a great. But I just think Ronaldo was unbelievable. I very nearly would throw Van Persie in there, but we only really had one season for him, so he's got to be a great. But I'm quite stingy about who's a legend and who's not. I'm also very stingy about who's world class. De Gea will become a legend, somebody just said there, Charles Haddock. He's got to be here for a long time, but he's a very, very good goalkeeper. I think you've got to win things as well, haven't you? Dennis Irwin marks as Aiden. Yeah, you know what? Dennis Irwin's a very good shout, because you know what? He doesn't get the credit he deserves. Absolutely brilliant player. Wayne Rooney legend, says Andre Jaap. You know what? I knew somebody chucked Rooney in there. George Carl says he is a legend. He's not a legend for me. He's not a legend for me. There's just something about Rooney that stops him being a legend. A United great, for sure. But let's not forget, I'm not having a pop at Rooney here. Gary Neville's not a legend for me. Phil Neville's not a legend for me. Nicky Butt's not a legend for me. Peter Schmeichel's not a legend. Vidic isn't a legend. Evra's not a legend. Van Nistelrooy's not a legend. You know, this is what your interpretation. They're all United greats. I'm stingy with who a legend is, because I think that, you know, when you look back to the 60s, there's only really 3 legends that come out of there, isn't there? Charlton, Best and Law. And you think, there was a whole other 8 players that played in the European Cup win. God knows how many players there were that played over that decade. We take 3 from it. The whole of the 80s, we take 1 player really from it, and that's Robson. So to just say, just because we had success, we're going to take 30 legends from the last 30 years is ridiculous. So I would only take a handful. But it's all down to you. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. But I'm also quite stingy about what world class is as well. And world class for me, Jeffrey's going, Rooney is a legend. What the fuck? If he's a legend to you, that's fine. He's not a Manchester United legend for me. I don't know why it is, because he should be. He should be. And I haven't got anything against him. He's a United great. But I think what it is for me with Rooney, I didn't like the fact that he left the club. But then you could throw at me, well, Ronaldo did the same thing, and you'd be spot on. I just think the last 3 or 4 years is probably the real reason why Rooney's not a legend for me, because it has been abysmal, absolutely abysmal. And I'm old enough to remember Rooney when he burst on the scene, and I remember him at the Euros. He wasn't a United player then, but for the next few years he was the same sort of player, and he was probably the best talent in world football coming through. He was fast, he ran at people, he could do absolutely everything. And I think if you were basing Rooney's is he a legend on them first few years, then it makes a great argument for it. But I think the way it tips the scales for me has just been the last 3 or 4 years where, you know, he's been collecting these massive wages, he's had the captaincy of Manchester United, and I've just felt, I'm going to be really harsh, he couldn't have led a pack of ants to a picnic. It's been abysmal. By his standards, I think any other person's standards, it's been average, below average to average, but for the heights he should be hitting, it's been really poor for the last 3 or 4 years, and that for me takes him from a legend to a great, because, you know, 3 or 4 years is quite a hefty percentage of his United career. But you know, that's my interpretation. If yours is different, that's up to you. But on about world class, this just to sort of get onto something a bit different. Bottom right hand corner, 61,242. It'd be nice to hit 61,250 while we're on the show. Just click and subscribe and you'll see it go up. But what is world class? And I'm going to throw this into you now so you start commenting. Aguero said that Messi is an absolute legend and the best player that's ever played football in his lifetime. I would say, never done anything at international level, Ronaldo's better. There we go, the debate has started. But whilst you start going on about that, because a lot of United fans do go for Messi, I just feel like going for Messi is quite traitorous to Manchester United. Ronaldo was made in Manchester. He was a great talent, but Sir Alex Ferguson made him what he is, and then he went and flourished at Real Madrid. That's the fact of Ronaldo. I'm loyal to Ronaldo, but I prefer Ronaldo to Messi. Messi to me is like Man City, and Ronaldo is Man United, so that's where my loyalty is. But if I'm honestly answering that question of Ronaldo or Messi, and I'd love to do a debate show about this, and maybe we will do it. If you're asking me the honest answer, and I've said this for years, who would you want, Ronaldo or Messi? I would take Ronaldo every day of the week, because Messi is as good as he is, and he's an absolute world-class legend, whatever you want to call him. He's only ever done it at Barcelona, surrounded by Barcelona's way of playing, surrounded by absolute world-class talents like Iniesta and Xavi, etc. Ronaldo, he's done it in the Premier League, he's done it at Real Madrid, and he's done it for Portugal, and Portugal's team's not great. And he's proven himself, whereas Messi hasn't come out of that comfort blanket of the Spanish league. And I don't care what anybody says, the amount of hat-tricks they get in La Liga, Ronaldo as well, it's an absolute joke. Sometimes they're getting double figures per season of hat-tricks. If they did that in the Premier League, they'd be looking to get 1 or 2 hat-tricks a year. It's a totally different league, it's way more competitive, it's way faster, it's made way more physical, and I would love to have seen Messi come over to the Premier League and prove it, because he might have rammed it down my throat. I'm sure he'd be bothered about that, but he might have proven me wrong. But for me, Ronaldo has proved himself to be the better player, because he's done it at international level in a crapper team than Argentina. He's done it in the Premier League, and he's done it in La Liga as good as Messi has. But the big reason I would have Ronaldo in my team over Messi is because Ronaldo's just the better physical specimen. If I've got a football team and I want to be successful, I actually want to put the ball in the box sometimes. I want to hit the wings. I want to... The one thing that United used to be absolutely brilliant of, and if you can remember this, you'll know what I'm on about. Ronaldo wasn't just somebody who could find the ball with his... You know, Ronaldo back to the... He was predominantly a winger at Manchester United, but back to the... You could pass the ball into him on the halfway line, if he'd back to his full-back, and he'd still produce something. You could hit it over the top, he'd get after it with pace. But one thing we used to do a hell of a lot of, and again, go and watch back these videos, is the keeper would hit Ronaldo from a goal kick or out of his hands, out on the right wing, and Ronaldo would flick it on 9 times out of 10, or head it down to whoever was at right back. He would win the ball from the high ball and hold it up as well. An absolute brilliant player. So you can't do that with Messi. You can't put a cross into the box for Messi to get onto. You can't ask Messi to go physical against somebody, whereas Ronaldo can run at people, he can shoot. I mean, Messi's the better dribbler, I would say, just about. I mean, Ronaldo's good, but if I was picking one of those two in their prime to go in my team, the way I would want to play football, I would pick Ronaldo because he gives me way more options. Whereas Messi, he's less physical, he's not as good in the air, and that I would want that. I think Ronaldo is getting too old now, but if you could get hold of Ronaldo probably 3 or 4 years ago, he'd be my replacement for Zlatan, because he, like I say, you can play the ball up over him. He's a bit like an Aubameyang sort of player, but 10 times better. So yeah, I'm a massive Ronaldo fan. I'm not arguing with people about it. I prefer Ronaldo over Messi for the reasons I've just said there. And I know loads of people will go, well, I prefer Messi. But for me, it really... And there is that loyalty thing. I feel like Messi would be Man City, Ronaldo would be United. And obviously, I'm always going to go for Ronaldo. I do have that bias. But trying to take that bias away from it, I would go for Ronaldo, because he's proven it. He's proven it in 3 areas, whereas Messi's only proved it in La Liga for me. And also... that physicality that he brings, I would want that in my team. You know, even if it is, and another thing about Ronaldo as well, I'm gloating about him a bit tonight. Another thing he offered for Manchester United that was brilliant, he used to win a lot of corners, not just in our box, but when we were defending corners, he was brilliant at going and winning the ball as well. So again, you can't get that from Messi either. Aidan Landsberg says, Mark, can you think of anybody worse than Fellaini for United? What, currently? Currently, it's hard to... I don't think there's anybody worse than Fellaini in our squad currently. Maybe Memphis or Schneiderlin, to be honest, because we're getting rid of them. But over the years, there's been plenty. Prunier, Jemba was muck, Kleberson. There's bloody loads, absolutely loads. But Kyle, F8, Ronaldo's header against Chelsea in the Champions League final in 2008. Yeah, Messi couldn't score you one of those. He was so good in the air. So good in the air. Ronaldo better than Messi, but we can all agree Fellaini's are better than both of them, says Herman. Cristiano Ronaldo could still easily get into the Manchester United current team, says Abdullah. Yeah, he could. I tell you what though, in fairness to Messi, I'd like to see Messi in a Manchester United team just to see what he could do, but I don't think he'd suit us very well at all at the moment, because where would he fit in? Would you have? I'd drop Messi in the number 10 position, because I wouldn't want him as our number 9, because you get no physicality, you get no ability to mix it up, and that's what I've loved about having Zlatan this season. Plus, I think Ronaldo, his work rate is unbelievable. What he's done with his career. Messi is naturally the better footballer. You know, Messi. I've played football. A lot of you've played football. Messi is a born world-class player. I think Ronaldo was a born top class player who, through hard work and, you know, genuine hard work and determination and arrogance, has become a world class player. And I think if you are a young lad trying to be a footballer, or if you are my age or a bit younger and there's something you want to do in your life, I'd be looking at the Ronaldo camp, not at the Messi camp, because Messi, I think, has had it, you know, he's worked to get where he was, but he's a God-given talent. I think Ronaldo is a great talent who's just worked unbelievably hard day in, day out. I mean, people say he's arrogant because he's got his top off and he's showing his pecs. You know, somebody didn't come and paint that on. He works hard. He's got an amazing work ethic, and I just think I'm a massive Ronaldo fan. But I wouldn't say that's why Rooney's not a United legend for me, because of the transfer requests, which he quite clearly did twice. Because Ronaldo was forcing himself out of United for a year and a half as well. So that's not the reason. I don't think Rooney's a United legend, but some people do that. If not a legend, would Valencia be considered a Manchester United great, says Jinson. I think I don't know, it's a good question. I mean, Valencia's been fantastic, but I don't know whether he go down as United great. We'll have to wait and see. Just having a look at some of your commenters. Tabaru says United v Liverpool, which is very, very good. Massive game. I mean, that was a shock last night, Chelsea losing. Liverpool, even if we beat them, are still 2 points ahead of us. We've got to win that game. I said this a month ago. You know, even if we not won all the games we had and we were still, say, 10 points off 4th place, Liverpool come in next week, we'd still have to beat them for the simple reason we can't let them win the league. The interesting thing is now, we've got to beat them to get within 2 points of them. We've got to beat them because we want to finish ahead of them. But Liverpool, regardless of what we've done over the last month, like I said, would still be a game we'd want to win. Have to win. We have to win this game. A draw will feel like a loss. We've got to win it. I mean, unless, you know, we go 4-0 down and we come back to 4-4, in which case, you know, we'd probably be ecstatic at getting back into it. But A draw for them, I think they'd be happy with it. A draw for us, not good enough. We've got to win it. And Mourinho is already very cleverly pointing into the fact that 70-odd thousand Manchester United fans will make the difference. My only concern, and we're going to build up to the Liverpool game next week, don't worry, as soon as the whole game's out of the way. My early warning to all of you lot, and I bet a lot of you thought this as well, is with the Liverpool game at Anfield, we obviously sat back and defended and frustrated them. Will we attack like we have done against Leicester, Stoke, Burnley, all them teams at home, and play an attacking number 10? Or will we do what we've done away, where we won't play a number 10 and we'll play Pogba, Herrera and Carrick as a midfield 3 and play a more defensive lineup? We're at Old Trafford, let's go toe-to-toe with them and let's make it a spectacle and let's try and win the game. Mourinho might, I'm not saying he will, but he might be a bit more cagey, not go toe-to-toe and be about tactics and trying to kill space and then, take our chances when we have them. At the end of the day, if we won 1-0, I'd take it right now, but I'd like to go and have a good game. I'd rather it be 3-2 than 1-0 and be a really good game. But ultimately, it's about us winning, and I can't wait. Like Hafiz Al-Rahman says, pound for pound, we are better than Liverpool. I totally agree with that. I think what Liverpool's benefit this year is Jurgen Klopp is a good manager. He's had a year longer than Mourinho's had, and his system is paying off. He's got players that are playing his system, and it is working. We are very close to getting there with that. And we are player for player, we are better than Liverpool. So we've got to win it, but anything can happen in the Premier League. I don't know who's refereeing it. All sorts can go wrong. But yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very excited about Manchester United in general. We were talking about this a couple of days ago, weren't we? Every game's exciting now. Reading at home in the FA Cup might not have been that exciting in previous years, but we're hoping that we're going to see some players that haven't been playing. I'd like us to win the FA Cup this year. I was talking to a mate of mine. He said, well, we won the FA Cup last year. I won't be that bothered if we don't win it. I'd rather us win the Europa League and get in the top 4. Yeah, over the FA Cup probably, but I loved winning the FA Cup last year. It was the highlight of a very bad season, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I would this year because I wanted Van Gaal to go and I was concerned winning it might mean he would stay. So I'd love us to win it again. I'm greedy. I want to win it again. The League Cup for me is the least I want to win. I'm not that bothered about it, but I think we will be in the final because I can't see us losing to Hull over 2 legs. So if you're in a final, you want to win it, don't you? You don't want to lose a final. So I think we will win the League Cup, but it would be my least favourite out of the 4 options we've got. I'd love to win the Europa League because we've never won the UEFA Cup or the Europa League, but my concern about the Europa League is every single year we've seen it. If you're in the Europa League, it affects your league form. We saw it with Liverpool last year. We've seen it at Spurs in the past. It really does affect your form. But it's exciting for us as fans because games are coming thick and fast. And who knows where this season will end. It's a funny season. Somebody said yesterday, I was talking to at work who's not a United fan, it's a great season. It's a 6-horse race. It's not really because Arsenal can't win it. And I doubt Liverpool can win it. I don't think Spurs will win it. I think it's between City, Chelsea, and potentially, I'm not convinced we're in it yet. I think it's City or Chelsea's title to lose. But in a month's time, we might be well in it. The interesting thing I would throw to you lot is if when the Europa League kicks in, which is in about a month's time, we are within, say, 5 points of top, which could be Chelsea, could be anybody. Would you be thinking, let's put all our eggs in the basket and go for the league, and really let's not be using a lot of our first team players on Thursday in the Europa League and then having to use them again on a Sunday where we're going to probably drop points doing that? Because personally, if we were in 5 points at the top, I'd say, right, use the reserves in the Europa League, let's go all out for the league, because you might not get, 5 points is nothing, especially when we've got to play the likes of Chelsea, and I think we're playing City. Well, I think we're playing City the weekend of the League Cup final, so actually that'll get put back until probably April. So going by what I would think, Chelsea and City, we're not playing either of them, I don't think, till April. So if you're in 5 points at the top, I'd just go for it. I really would. But I've gone on for a long time tonight. I think we're nearly 45 minutes in. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Do drop us a like on the video. It was the United preview. I hope you've enjoyed it, like I say. Talking about what's coming up for the next few days, we've got watch along, obviously 11:30 on Saturday morning with the team news right the way through till full time. Sunday Night Live is back for its first show of the year on Sunday at 8:30, and will be every week of the year now. We've got Christmas out of the way. Hopefully get Alex and a couple of others on for that. Sunday Night Live, if you've not seen it before, is a basic United review of the weekend. The United Ramble. People have said, where's that, Mark? You did it over Christmas. It was a new show. We really enjoyed it. The United Ramble, where I'm out walking with Ricky, just talking about United stuff. I think we're going to bring that back. I think it's going to be here on Sunday morning. So you'll see that on Sunday morning. And tomorrow night, there will be a show at 8:30. Join us live for that. And obviously as well, if you have been watching them, I hope you have, 6:30 every morning, we are doing a live transfer show. We've done 3 or 4 so far. There'll be another one tomorrow. All the latest Manchester United transfer news, whether it's rubbish or not. If you've not seen the one today, Muller, Lasana Diarra and the Turkish free kick specialist. It's only 5 minutes. Go and have a watch of that. And we'll have another one for you tomorrow morning. So lots going on at the United stand at the moment. Keep liking the videos if you enjoy the content. Keep subscribing. We've got up to 61,250. So thanks for those who have subscribed and are new. And I shall see you all tomorrow morning if you're joining me live. If not, watch it when you get up. I know there's a few students. They probably get up about midday. And thanks for everybody on the live comments. You've been absolutely supers. Drawty Devil is always welcome on the show, but he is in hiding. Nothing to do with the show. They're after him. I'm only joking. Start Rooney, rest Ibrahimovic, says Indy Tagger, who I think was on last night. Great debut. And I would start Rashford up front. That's what I want to see. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And I shall see you all tomorrow. Really enjoyed that show. It sort of it drifted, didn't it, towards the end? But I love the Ronaldo-Messi debate. And I love talking about who's a United legend. So whoever brought that up about Valencia, I do remember it was. It will come back to me. Brilliant. And maybe we should pick up on that again one day. But if you've ever got any ideas for programmes, just whack them in the comments. We always read them. But I'll speak to you all very soon. In the morning, in fact. Enjoy the rest of your evening and keep following and getting involved. And make sure you drop us a like, because 10 of you have disliked it. What have I done wrong? Messi lovers. Messi lovers. I tell you what, like the video if you don't want us to sign Jose Fonte, and I'll see you tomorrow.